Starting to the bottom left with a 1-0 lead in the best-of-3 series is our Caspar Protoss player. Starting for the Wunjing Stars, we have
Wunjing Stars fly.
This time the pylon on the low ground.
Yeah. And his opponent, of course, the French player, starting to the top right in blue. We have for Evil Genius.
Easy Stephano lay the core.
Stephano down a game in the series, found himself a bit duped by the DTs in game number 1. But I don't think we'll see such a one-sided game in game number 2.
You know, I looked down the match history of Stephano and I tried to find a best-of-3 where he lost against the Protoss player, and I'll give you a quick overview of opponents that he was able to beat. He won against Titan with a 3-0. He took down a Terminator. He took down SOS. He was able to win against a Hero, and Pro League there was in January. He took out Mana with a 2-0, won against Baby Knight with a 2-1, defeated Feast twice, took out MC in December, and Freya as well. So that was back in the days when he was still in Europe. He defeated Elfie, Mana again, won against Zocke, won against Dream, and only against Harstim at the beginning of December did he lose a best-of-3. This guy is so dominant in Zerg versus Protoss that I feel no one bet a single dollar on Flying. But now, Flying is ahead.
Yeah, Flying is ahead in this series, but I don't want to say his build was lucky, but it was definitely not typical. It was weird. It was a build that caught Stephano off guard, and if we play normal games in Game 2 and Game 3, Stephano will be able to shine in his Zerg vs. Protoss like we've seen in the past, like you're relying on.
While I completely agree with that, I feel if you are Flying, what else are you going to do? You're not going to start with a game where you go into 3 bases and go into the late game. I feel this is the worst choice that he can make, because Stephano is known for his crazy late game. So I feel that a build like this is exactly what he needs to repeat, and Stephano is the one who, with the knowledge of how good he is in this matchup and how much material his opponents have to prepare, is the one who has to make sure that he is acquiring all those scouting information that he needs to prepare. Because what are you expecting from Flying? I mean, a build like this with DTs is definitely something that I can see him pull off in Game 3 when it comes to that again. Just for the hell of it.
Yeah. I mean, he could do anything here. He's very carefully checking to see if Stephano takes that gold base, because there are very few gold bases that are left in GSL map pools, but this is one where we could see Stephano take this base and go for a roach push, for example. That's the SK logo. That's why this is the Planet S that Legend is showing us right now. So the Pro League maps, that's why it's here. That's why it's called Planet S. But neither of these teams affiliated with that logo or the company. But Flying, what's he going to do? His core is in the main, which means that he hides from Stephano the Chrono Boost, whether or not he's going for a Warp Gate oriented push or not. And so far, he is not. Started the +1. He could go for it right away, right now. On his forge, he has the gas. Starts a Zealot first. And he's going to scout the 3rd base of Stephano. It's really hard to keep this a secret.
He's going to scout the 3rd base now, and he knows exactly what he's up against. What Stephano has to do now is show his A-game, really show why he is so strong against Protoss, why this is his best matchup, and why Protoss players all across the globe are afraid of it. Flying, what is he going to do? He showed us a build with DTs in game number 1, is opening with the robotics here in game number 2. We could see him with a lot of different builds. He could go into an Immortal push. We have him with the Robo before he goes into the attack upgrade.
Yep. Robo first, very quickly here. This 3rd base for the Zerg it's relatively far away, but if you spread your creep over there early, like Stephano is doing right now, you can be pretty safe against an Immortal push. Takes double gases and shows them to Stephano here. No +1 just yet. I think that we may just see an expansion build out of Flying. We're going to see if he starts an Immortal right away here with that +1 he's just started, it's going to be a different story. It all comes down to this moment. What are you going to do, Flying? There's the Immortal.
Immortal for Flying, and the usual approach for Stephano in this is he sets up flanks. There are only a few players who will be able to set up flanks the way that Stephano does. He attacks from every angle, and he waits for the perfect moment. If he can do it, he has good chances here, but Flying knows exactly what he's in for. He knows that with this push, execution is everything, and that you need to have perfect force fields. And if he gets those force fields, Stephano will have a very tough time.
Yeah. Second Immortal is on the way. Third gate goes up. This is going to be very scary. The creep for Stephano is getting out there. His lair is coming up as +1. Everything is lined up for Stephano as you would expect. Oh, he gets the Lings in. He does not see the robotics, so it's really important that that was on the high ground.
Yeah, doesn't see the robotics and did also not see the Immortal. Flying, immediately moving the Immortal back because he tries to hide it.
Stephano is adding a lot of drones right now, though, going up to 64 right now. And if he wants to hold a push like this, he can't make any more than that.
64 is a very high number. You see a lot of Zerg players that are up against an Immortal push or against an potentially Immortal push stop their drone production already at 55 to 58. But Stephano going for it. And ooh, for a second we had a Twilight Council attempt here by Flying, which would rather indicate him going into a third base. And there it is.
Yeah, he could be doing that same build we saw Parting do, where he kind of fakes the push and goes into a third. There's the +1 finishing up. And he's moving out with this. Stephano is moving out with a few roaches, but if he runs these roaches into this forest, he's going to lose all of them, and then the attack becomes, even though it's mostly a fake right now, a little bit scarier. He does not catch the roach, though. This is going to scare Stephano a little bit. He starts 13 roaches. His speed is finishing up exactly as he would like. He's also got that macro hatchery finishing up right now.
There comes the third base, but we still don't have additional probes being produced. He's going for Blink and +2 attack. There they are. Probe production continued.
Yeah, he may have been supply blocked, but regardless.
No, he wasn't.
Regardless, now he starts his probes again, and Stephano is moving across the map. Now that he knows about this base, he wants to punish it. I just don't think he can punish it against this composition, especially with this wall that's been laid.
I'm actually not quite sure if I really like that Flying is not moving out. Him cutting probes for so long and still being at a low count, having this very strong force and not using it. It's not on the map and it will help him defend the third base. But this is still tricky.
It is definitely tricky, especially because he didn't stay at the rocks here, so he loses his gateways without cancels, and Stephano goes for another attack, and he's going to catch this Immortal.
And this is this problem that you have as a Protoss on this map when you try to take your third base. You have to bounce between the natural and the third, and this is not easy at all because the distance is quite huge, so a good Zerg player will be able to spread you out very thin, take down the Forge, take down every now and then a few of the units that are trying to close distance, so that's not very easy to pull off.
Yeah. Stephano, though, is shut down here, flying with some really nice force fields at the natural. Losing those gateways at the third is important because he loses his ability to defend against future run-bys. He has to remake them. But more important than that is that's part of his production. Those gateways he's adding are serving a twofold purpose. One, to make it so he has more warp-in points, and the second one is, of course, to wall. So these gateways would be done now. He'd have extra units to warp in, but now he's going to start banking up some minerals because he doesn't have those forces. And we have Stephano following up with a big attack here.
And he has the Hydra Den. The Hydra Den is completed, so now he can go into Hydroless. He has a massive amount of roaches.
Flying is in the middle of nowhere.
Is done. And here comes Stephano. The force fields have to be perfect, but as you said, he's in the middle of nowhere, and he's with his back against the wall, and he is going to lose everything here.
The Immortal that's at the natural is not helping out, and Stephano is just destroying this army. This is a one-side battle. Yeah, you can blink up the high ground all you want, but that means Stephano can come in here and kill your Nexus.
Stephano is moving in, is basically saying, what's up, son? And there is just nothing to defend. This is the problem that we talked about, the distance between the natural and the third for the Protoss.
Yeah, the base is gone, and Flying cannot even send his units over to defend it because he doesn't have enough. He'll lose all of his army if he tries. Stephano's taking up fourth base right now. He's adding some Hydras in, which he doesn't even necessarily have to do, but it's a choice that I can sit well with. He starts a Spire. I like this much more.
Yeah. He's not going all out on this. He knows that he has such a crazy lead. If he can snipe the Forge, that would be awesome for him. Then he can make sure that there are no additional upgrades. This is what he does. Very well played by Stephano here. Flying, trying to take this third. This is the reason why I said I would have more liked him to go into an attack to Stephano's third, trying to execute this Immortal push. It's not really easy on this map. It's still very dangerous if you run into a flank, but the problem is just taking this third is so difficult as a Protoss.
Yeah, this is a map where we've seen almost no Protoss try to hold third bases because it's so difficult.
And if they try, they always run into the same problem, the long distance, and that's exactly where Flying was caught with his pants down.
Yeah. And now Stephano just has way too much. He's going to trade multiple times against this Immortal heavy composition with his Hydras at the back doing the extra damage.
He wants to end it. He's nearly maxed out. He has 80 Harvester supply against 45. He has 4 bases against 2. He can wait for the upgrade to just go in, and that's exactly what he's done.
Yeah, he waits for +2. The Hydras fight here, and And, you know, a good force here for Flying. He's going to buy time.
But he doesn't trap a lot.
Yeah.
There's still gaps, and Stephano is using them. Moving in right now, the Hydralisks need to do their damage. There are a lot of Immortals. That's where Stephano has to be careful. The Roaches alone, they can't do anything.
Yeah, Stephano is remaxing instantly, though, and he is taking out Flying's units steadily, or slowly but steadily. But Flying will be able to push this back, and if he catches this army before the link up with the reinforcements, Flying will have saved himself. But the thing is, he still doesn't have a third base.
The blink, the creep helps Stephano a lot here. The forward blink, but here come those Zerglings streaming in. The reinforcements with the Hydralisks, they do damage as well. A couple of Roaches trying to lend their strength too. And Flying is dropping in supply, losing Immortal after Immortal.
Yeah, Stephano just has too much of a bank. He's had too much economy for too long, and he will eventually beat this force. Stutter steps in here. The Hydra's doing so much damage. And yeah, if it was just up to these two armies, Stephano would not win it, but he's got so many more Roaches rallying in here, and that's it. He has to blink back. He will never take a third base.
And the entire time, Stephano is hitting his injects. He has the lava, now using all of that up, now back to 1, but the injects are going to pop in a few seconds, then he will be up again. He's getting 22 Zerglings, getting more and more Hydras, and there's just no economy for Flying to keep up with this.
Yeah, GG. This is why Flying is going to have to do timing attacks, most people are feeling, against Stephano, because if he tries to play against Stephano trying to take a third base, Stephano will say no. Stephano has the power to knock down any Process third, it feels like.
Yeah, Stephano has done really well in this game. Flying was up against him on a bad map, trying to take this third, and you can really see him now with his arms crossed, thinking about the next map. Belcher, Vestige. That's where he has to defeat Stephano if he wants to advance.
This is another map that's tough for Cross players to take a third base. We've seen some players figure out how to use fake Immortal pressure, kind of like what we saw on Neo Planet S. We've also seen Stargate play allow players to take a third. I mean, this is basically Belcher Beach and making it so that instead there's an easy third to take, it's a tough third to take. And against somebody like Stephano, who's great at just pouring out the aggression at that third base, I just don't see a third base happening in this game if Flying is really thinking about this from a logical standpoint.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Protoss players trying to pull that off, especially partying, but it's difficult. It's really difficult. Partying is still on another level than Flying, in my personal opinion. I'm not quite sure if Flying would really want to rely on a third base here. It's very similar to the last map, so if Stephano can get an edge, he will use it, and that's exactly what he's going to try. What has Flying up his sleeve? We're gonna find out. Can he win against Stephano? Will the French player dominate the best of 3 and take it after an initial loss? This is what we're gonna see on Belcher Vestige, the third map between these two at the GSL Code A, the second round with Carl Wolf.